everybody, Bob back with my playthrough of Final Fantasy V Forge on Fiesta. And before we start gathering up the adamantium from the different meteorites, let's get some enemies that we haven't encountered yet. So, mainly all around here in history, we got some new sea enemies here, including that Corvette there. It has a lot of hit points, so it's one of the tougher enemies in this first world, but it does have a weakness to lightning. The other enemies there, the Thunder Ammon and the Sahagin, we already fought them, but they're both really susceptible to Charm Spell. And it would be really nice as if that, which it's doing right now, the Thunder Ammon starts using its lightning spells against the other enemies. So it has the Thunder 2 and that Electric Shock, so if it hits either the Sahagin or the Corvette there, it'll do some decent damage to them. So sometimes the Sahagin will use Goblin Punch on itself, and that'll one-shot it. Goblin Punch is that blue magic spell, and it does like 8 times the damage if you are the same level as the target. So if it's targeting itself, it's obviously going to do 8 times as much damage. It basically one-shots itself. So there we go. So sometimes that Thunder Ammo will use its shock or thunder on itself, and that'll heal it. But not much of a problem. Like I said, it's not healing too much, and we have it charmed, so finish it off. We always seem to inflict the old status on right when we defeat the enemy, so it's like it's not going to help us, that old status. Alright. There's another enemy here we want to meet in the sea, and then after that we're going to head back into the forest, because we have a forest enemy we want to meet. So, and for that forest enemy, we're probably going to want to have the Samurai, just because the Samurai has that Gill Toss ability. That'll be really good against an upcoming boss. We don't have to use it, but it'll make the boss basically trivial. So, although the Bard class will make the next 2 bosses that we fight trivial. Well, one of the bosses trivial, and it can make that other boss trivial too, so. The Bard is pretty powerful against some of these end world bosses here. First, we're just going to, try to get this enemy here in the sea. And we did not meet it there. But now we can encounter this monster much later on in the game, but might as well get it now. And there it is, the Sea Avis. It only has 25 hit points, but it has really good evade. So I ended up wasting some magic to finally defeat it, because it keeps dodging all my attacks. And it does not, if we had the Bard Song, that's the last ability I think that you get from the Bard, is the Sing ability. If we would have had that, maybe put a charge to charm it, but it would have at least charmed the Thunder Amons, and they could have used their magic on the Sea Avis. Yeah, you'll see we're doing a lot of missing. Speaking of missing, the Samurai has a good chance to evade physical attacks, where the Knight has the ability to take physical attacks with 0 damage. The Samurai has I think a 20% chance built in to evade attacks, so that's really, really good. So, what's not good is, like I said, keep missing this, but we'll let you just use some magic and take it out. I'm trying to save my magic though, because I want to be using a lot of magic for the enemy in the forest that I'm going to fight. And that's the only reason I really changed the Samurai, so I can get that Gill Toss. What Gill Toss does is it tosses a certain amount of gold based on your character's level, and then it deals damage to the enemies. The more gold you throw, the more damage it does. Alright, fine, took care of this guy. Got a little bird. Got a bunch of scrolls that we can throw. If we were a ninja, we just can throw money. Alright, we have another enemy out here that's pretty common in the in the plains. So of course, because it's really common, I don't run into it right away. But we tend to run into if you have a ninja, really good to farm on these guys here, these black flames. You could throw like a scroll at them and finish them off in like 1 turn. But we're looking for the stone golem down there. So we can use the charm spell, and that will charm the Black Flames and the Stone Golem. They're also susceptible to charm, but we don't really want to charm the Stone Golem, because as long as the Stone Golem isn't charmed, we can instantly defeat it with one of those soft potions. Remember how that one person back in Crescent Island said that, hey, you know, my grandfather said that, you know, soft potions are good against stone enemies. Well, yeah, if you use a soft potion on a stone enemy like the Stone Golem, it instantly defeats them. There's some other enemies like statues that are obviously stone. You can throw soft potions on them, finish them off easily. It doesn't work though like if they're charmed. If they're charmed, then I guess it rewrites their AI script, and they don't do that darkness, self-inflicted darkness attack on them that instantly defeats them. So, alrighty, want to heal ourselves up here. Use our tent to heal up, because this is kind of one of the tougher battles in the first world here. So now, if you have a bunch of the fire rings, then not a problem at all, because you'll gain hit points. But we run into these dragons, these mini dragons in here, and they always come in a group of 5. And what's annoying about them is they have really good defense, so the guild toss ain't gonna work too well on them. And they can use this mini blaze spell, yeah, that hits everybody for quite a decent amount of damage. So I'm gonna try to get rid of them as soon as possible. Guild toss doesn't do too much damage. You see that does a lot more damage to some other enemies. These have really good defense, so I'm gonna try to, you know, whittle them down, hoping that, you know, concentrate our firepower on like one of them. We're pretty close to one of them, one or two of them. Try to diminish their numbers down. I didn't want to target that other one again with the Bolt 2 because I thought it would have finished it off. So I thought that you know, Angels would finish it off with his sword, but unfortunately he missed. So like one's down, and like I said, as we keep hitting that, the guild toss will do, you know, a little bit of damage here and there. So probably about 2 more guild tosses and then 1 more level 2 spell and a hit from Angels will finish them off. So once you start getting their numbers down a little bit, then it's not too bad. Like I said, if you have all 5 of them there and they all decide to spam that mini blaze, then you know you're pretty you're up the creek without a paddle. So I'm just using the Bolt 2 because I have the I have the bolt, the lightning rod equipped, because all those enemies in the sea are weak to lightning, or most of them are. So that's just boosting up. And we got a boss coming up this week that absorbs ice, so we don't want to have an ice thing. All right, so there's like basically almost all the enemies. There's a few more. Really, only 1 more that we can really defeat. There's still that one in the in War's Castle in the basement, and we'll run into him later. We won't be able to defeat him though right now. We also won't be able to defeat those Skull Eaters back in the Jackhole Castle, but we can run into them later on in the game. But another enemy, if we don't meet it in this first world here, it's available later on in the game, but only as a potential monster in a box. There's no guarantee it'll be that monster in the box, so I'm gonna have to make sure we take it out before we leave this first world. And trying to leave the first world by gathering up the adamantium and all the 4 meteorites. So there's the black chocobo. I don't know how they managed to ride it here. There's no forest. We had to get the airship to come back to these ruins. But yeah, it looks like Cid and Mid are captured by that evil dog cloud again, and we're gonna have to fight it. But this is an easy battle. All you have to do is, if you have the sing command, just cast the love song on it, and that'll freeze the thing. So this guy will never be able to act for the rest of the battle. As long as Faris sings that love song every turn she gets, this guy's just gonna do absolutely nothing. And there's another boss that is like this too, but I'm not gonna worry about singing against that boss. I'm just gonna use the guild toss. Yeah, we got 3 bosses here because we have to get the adamantium from the other 3 meteorites. the one in Karnak, the one here in the Earth Crystal, the Ruined City, and then the one in Walrus. And we got because we already got the one by Tycoon, that meteorite. So, like I said, we just have Cid with an ice level 2 spell. As long as it's not the ice will give this guy hit points back. So we're gonna have to buy eventually some more of those thunder bots to take out the one enemy. That one that can only be potentially a monster in the box later on. Because the only way we can hurt that enemy is with breaking thunder rods. You guys are right. Yeah, that was frightening. Now on to the next meteor. Let's go. And this is probably going to be the toughest boss in all the meteorites. But there's usually a place you can always swing by. You can always stop there at the ancient library and heal up for free if we wanted to. But I got a decent amount of magic left, so I wasn't going to waste time doing that. Still just make a safety save though, because like I said, this is probably the toughest of the bosses, because there's no real cheap things, at least with our party here. If we had a white mage or a tamer, we can get float cast on us, and this guy would be a joke, but we can't do that, so. Yeah, if you have a tamer, you can go back to the North Mountain where those Galacats are, and you can charm them, and then they'll use them to cast float on your characters. And then if you're floating, this guy, his Earthshake, which is his big finishing move, and he sometimes uses it during battle, will just miss you. So he has no elemental weaknesses, so he can't exploit anything, but he does some good damage with angels there. But he can do good damage with this Earthshaker. Like I said, if we were floating, that wouldn't hurt us at all. But because we can't float, we're going to have to take the damage. That's what makes this guy pretty tough. Now he always uses that though when he finishes when you get him down to 0 hit points is like his finishing move, his last ditch effort. So we want to make sure that we're keeping track of his hit points so that when we before we give him the finishing blow, we're at full hit points to survive that Earthshaker. So he's about halfway down. He's about 1900 in, because Lenna does about 500 with her spells, and Angels is doing about 700 with his attacks. So either one more attack with Angels, or one more, maybe 1.5 with Lenna. One with Lenna, one with Faris. Okay, that should finish him off right there. We were at full hit points there, so we all survive the Earthshaker. We get those good ability points. And we're also going to get another Esper Titan. But we can't use that because that's a summon spell, and we don't have a summoner. So, alright, 2 meteors down, just 1 more to go. And that'll be the one right across the waterway back in Walrus. Which is good because after we get that final thing for the meteorite there, we want to head back to Walrus Castle. We didn't raid the treasure chests down there, because the enemy is really hard, hits really hard. You can't hurt it with elemental spells because it absorbs all elements. And it's really tough to run from. So having some more levels lets us run a little bit easier. So we're just going to go down there. We won't be able to defeat the enemy, but we'll eventually be able to defeat it later in another world that comes in another dungeon later on. So we'll be able to defeat it then. We'll change back to the samurai. This boss coming up, we're not going to fight it this episode. We'll start off in the next episode. But similar to the Chimera Brain, you can lock it down with the love song. But I'm just going to instead defeat it with the gill toss, because you can one-shot it with the gill toss. But it's kind of a little tricky puzzle boss, so we don't have enough time to go into it here. But that's where we'll pick up on our next episode. We're getting the final adamantium from this meteor. Take care, have a good one. Bye!